I'm going to send this out really quickly. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Trying to make sure I send this out loud. Come on in, come on in. I'm just sending this out really quick. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette, and I am a human system strategist. And the human species that I focus on is the female species. So I'm the person that women come to when they are ready to be in a space, or successful women. I'm the one that they come to when they're prepared and when they're ready to build their internal systems so that they can sustain and amplify their external success, whatever external success looks like to them, okay? Because external success looks very different to each person. So if they want to sustain their external success, what did I get in my hair? Some fuzz. If they want to sustain or amplify their external success, they come to see me to build their internal systems. The reason why a lot of women burn out in life, in business, in a multitude of things is because, okay, that they are, how can I say this? They don't have the internal infrastructure. They're not aligned with the fullness of their identity. And because of that, it's a clash and a crash. Okay. So today I'm going to talk specifically about how your mind is not stuck. I'm going to have this one is going to kind of be one today. So what I'm going to ask is that you send this to another woman who is a leader, another woman who is really doing her work, because she needs to know about what's happening, what's going on. I'm going to be talking about where we're going. Okay. I'm going to be talking a bit about where we're going and what you're going to need, especially going into 2026. There are a lot of things that's happening. And I need for your minds to be unstuck. For a lot of you who are stuck at one level and you're trying to quantum jump into the next level, this is going to be the live for you, because it's very important. I cannot stress this enough. It's extremely important for you to be very, very clear, okay, going into 2026. So again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a human system strategist. If this is your first time joining me, you'll see me looking down at my iPad, because that's like where I like to keep my notes when I'm going live. So what I'm talking about today is that I'm speaking specifically about how your mind is not stuck, okay? It's still programmed. It's still programmed by the spell you never broke. Now, this is going to be rooted in there's power of life and death in your tongue. We're going to have a real conversation today, and I hope that you are ready. I hope you have your notebooks. I hope you have your mind right. I hope you are in position to receive, and I really hope you put yourself in position, because all of this talk about what you need to do or what you need to make more of is not really the case. You need to position yourself to receive. A lot of you can't position yourself to receive because you do not understand your internal value, okay? But we're going to talk specifically about reprogramming of the mind, why that's going to be very, very important right now, especially going into 2026 with everything that is happening in the world. I'm going to talk about how the war is waged with words first, and I'm going to talk about what that means. I'm also going to talk about the conscious versus the subconscious mind, force versus influence, and then I'm also going to get into language recalibration in real time. A lot of you need to change your words. You need to change your words. You need to change what you're writing down, because there are a lot of things that you are doing and things that you are entering in that you are not even realizing, because these spiritual gurus and all these people are not coming on here telling you the full truth about things that you are doing. You have to start paying attention to the fact that when people are on here coming to teach you things about spirituality, okay? First and foremost, for FYI, for those who are just now joining, I'm a believer. I don't refer to myself as a Christian. I've gone through this time and time again of why I don't refer to myself as a Christian. I implore you to do your own research. And if you have questions about that, you can DM me and I will gladly lead you to those things. But I always say that Christ would have nothing to do with modern day Christianity because it is not what was taught. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation. But we're going to get into language calibration. We're going to get into how this whole thing with words and writing came to pass in a way to where people, it was used for people to be, how can I say it, for people to be placed under spells, for people to be manipulated. So I'm really going to get into that. And then I'm going to talk about rewiring for this new world order. Because if y'all not paying attention to what's happening, and if y'all think that things are going to go back to normal, you really need to hang it up. You really need to hang it up. I'm going to say a lot of truth here. If you have questions, I'm going to support you in that. And then I'm also going to tell you about something that can support you and reprogram your mind within the next 30 days. Because I'm telling you, you don't need to be waiting to do anything until January. You need to be doing everything right now. I hope y'all been locked in. I hope you have been. Hi, Lovey. Thank you for these likes. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate them. All right, so like I said, we're talking about your mind isn't stuck. It's still programmed by the spell that you never broke. I want to be very specific about the type of women that I work with. I work with women who are successful. What is a successful woman? A woman who is very clear about the things that are around her. She's created something amazing from herself, and she may be in a space to where she might be burned out. A lot of the women that come to work with me are women who are excellent when it comes down to education. They're highly intelligent. Thank you for being here first time. These are women that can solve the problem, the family manager, like all that person. This is the one that everybody comes to. She's the smartest person in the room the majority of the time, but she's tired of that. She's tired of that because it's hard when you're always the smartest person in the room and you have a question. Okay? So this live is going to be for the woman who knows that she's been sitting in a space where she's ready to shift her life for real, but she can't figure out why all of the spiritual work that she's done, why all the affirmations and why the mindset shifts tend to fall short. No matter how much she listens to things and tries to reprogram her mind, she's trying to figure out, like, why do these things not work? I'm going to talk about that today. And I'm going to talk about the things you need for it to work, because it's not a coincidence. Everything I teach, number one, is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. It's not a coincidence that it literally tells you in scripture that you are to guard your gates, that you need to take your thoughts captive. It's a reason why you were told these things, because if you don't guard your gates, if you don't take your thoughts captive, you can be put under a dangerous spell by believing a lie. This is why lies are so dangerous. Lies are so dangerous because there have been lies that have been told that have created, from those lies have been created laws. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because of lies that have been told, from that, laws were created to enslave people. Do you understand? So when I tell you your language really makes a difference, and I'm going to break that down for you. So today I'm not just teaching about, how to reprogram your mind. I'm going a little bit deeper than that. Okay? I'm showing you how to literally reclaim the codes, because you need to understand that the scripture that you don't understand, the scripture that has been taught to you, that has been, taught to you in a way that's very stepped on, and chopped up and screwed, because they didn't put everything in the King James Bible, because they've used it to beat you over the head. You want to reject it. And that was the plan. Because if you reject it, then you'd never read it. And if you never read it, then you never really study for understanding. And if you never really study for understanding, the codes are never going to be revealed to you. Therefore, you can't tattoo them on your heart. Therefore, you can't change your life. Because your vibrational state depends on the heart posture that you were in. And if you were always in a heart posture of grief, if you were always in a heart posture of just pain and different things like that, even though you're progressing status-wise in life, your life is always going to reflect that of someone who is problematic, okay? So again, I'm here to show you, okay, how to reclaim the codes before they were written for you. Because a lot of things have been written, a lot of things have been told to you that are not the truth. And we are in an age now, something I like to call the age of air. When you think about air, air can be wind, air is breath, air is spirit. It's all of these things, right? So when you think about clearing the air, that means that you can no longer hide. So this is why you see a mass of people who are waking up, because things are becoming clearer because the wind is coming through. And a lot of people really need to start paying attention to the fact that, yes, you're coming into an awakening and realize that you've been lied to. Now what? Are you going to sit here and be emotional about it? That's what they want. Are you going to sit here and just talk about how much of a victim? Because that is what they want. Or are you going to do and use what they have been using against you in a righteous way? They've been using the very righteous method in a very wrong way to get you to submit to their systems. But what if you came into the space and you began to understand what it is that they're doing, and you were able to create a new reality, and people were asking you how you're able to thrive in this society when all this stuff is going on? And it's because you understand that your words are a big part of your wealth. Okay? That makes sense, since the age of Aquarius brings knowledge and is the air sign. Yeah. And it talks about it in scripture, the water bearer. Just go look that up. And when I'm not even going to get into all that, but yeah. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to reclaim the codes that you need, okay, before they were written for you. Because here's what I need you to understand. Stop focusing on physical war. We're going to have a conversation real quick, okay? I'm going to try to do it as best I can without getting banned. So follow me, because I'm not going to repeat myself, okay? Pay attention. Lock in. The war that you think is happening, and I wrote an article on this on Substack, it is not physical like you think. Will there be physical things that's going on? Yes. But is it actually physical? No, it's not. It's spiritual, it's psychological. But here are some heavy things that you need to pay attention to, because the war that they are speaking of that's coming in, in 2026 and different things, it's not just tech. It's not really tech. Okay? It's about your tongue. It's about their tongue. And it's about the text. You understand? They're going to use their tongue to create a new text. Hear what I'm telling you. Okay? And if you don't know how to use your tongue and you're not connected to the right text, okay, it is going to transform you into something else. All right? So this is what we really have to pay attention to. Your words, what you write in your womb, those are wealth creators right there. Your words, what you write in your womb, are wealth creators right there. Okay? And all these things are scriptural. So I'm going to get down to the bottom so you can know, because I need you to be very clear. If you don't, though, hear me when I say this, if you don't recalibrate your language, your words, you will end up living somebody else's prophecy, because you will depend on their words. You will depend on what they teach you. Okay? Even if you, and I always tell you all the time, beloved, you don't have to listen to what I say. Go read for yourself. I invite you to go read, because it's very important and very vital. You need to know what's really going on. So let's get into the first aspect of this. The war is waged in words first. Okay? And I want you to pay attention. Pay close attention, because I'm not going to do a lot of repeating. Okay? So we're already in a war, if you want to be honest, if we want to be straightforward, if we want to be just what it is. But it's not a physical one. It's a spiritual one. But the spiritual one, it's laced in linguistics. It's laced in language. It's laced in the things that they are saying. Before they enslaved your body, okay, they rewrote your vocabulary. Before they captured your time through corporate America, see, let's get into it. Let's go back to before they enslaved your body, testing on you, okay, they rewrote your vocabulary. What do they say? Oh, that black women can take pain. They have a high tolerance of pain, right? They change the vocabulary. So this is what they are telling people when you are coming into the doctor's office, okay? That you have a higher tolerance of pain. That is the what's coming from the tongue and is translated as text and is truth. And that is why they treat you the way that they treat you. Okay? So again, before they enslaved your body, they rewrote your vocabulary. Before they captured your time using the system of corporate America, they weakened your tongue. This is why when you go into interviews, you dim yourself down. You don't speak truth and authenticity about who you are and your innate value. You pretend to be somebody else. They weakened your tongue because they told you all your life that you were not good enough because you did not fit into the systems of or the ideas or the boxes that they felt like you should fit in. See, I grew up in a time, because I'm a millennial, I'm 41. I'll be 42 in a month, right? So I grew up in a time where you could only answer a math problem one way. You couldn't remix it. You couldn't do all this other stuff. You had to do it exactly the way that you were taught, and you had to actually show your work, or you were not going to get credit for that actual problem. But see, now you see the portals of how it's so many different ways. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. It's so many different ways to solve a math problem. But that whole aspect of things was about control. There was even a point in time, if you were a left-handed child, I know people who were who are left-handed, and when they were children in kindergarten, their hands used to get popped for writing with their left hand. You understand? They used to pop children's hand for writing with their left hand because it was like, you need to be writing with your right hand. Do you understand that? See, when people tell you something, if you don't know truth, you will take that as truth. You will take that as your reality. So again, before they enslaved your body, she said, yep, I'm left-handed. I'm left-handed. See? Before they enslaved your body, they rewrote your vocabulary. Before they captured your time, they weakened your tongue. This is why you don't negotiate for salaries either. You don't negotiate your salary. You don't speak up. You don't advocate for yourself because they told you that you need to come into their space and tell them and show them why you're qualified. When in reality, in scripture, it tells you that the Most High says, I call you and then I qualify you. But see, society twisted around. They switched it around to make you weak, to make you doubt yourself, to make you perform for a position, to perform for pay. Thank you, lovey, for these gifts. They did all this so you can perform for pay, all while not telling you that you are the money of the organization. You didn't know you was the money? You don't got no HR friends. You are the money of the corporation. If all of you decided that you were not going into a corporation, guess what they could not do? Function. If everybody just up and decided that they were not going to go into an establishment and they were not going to do these things or participate in this anymore, guess what? That company will be calling everyone trying to figure out, what do we need to do? Okay? What do we need to do? But because people don't know their innate value, they would never stand in that. Because why? Society has told you who you are and you believe them. And you accept that as your reality, which is why a lot of you continue to repeat victim cycles, even though you have your degree, even though you have some money, even though you've been to therapy, all of these things, and you still don't know who you are. You are still very unclear on who you are. Words, and this is what I need you to understand, words are not just sound, they're structure. Okay? Thank you, my love, for the follow. Words are spiritual software, okay? And many of you are trying to experience peace while still running on the old software, the old programming, a spell, okay? There's power of life and death in the tongue, and it tells you that in Proverbs 8:21. And by your words, it tells you in Matthew 12:37, by your words, you will be justified, and by your words, you will be condemned. I'm going to say that one more time. By your words, you will be justified, and by your words, you will be condemned. So if you say that I'm having a hard time, this has been a hard year, this has been the hardest year of my life, and it started in February, I'm not surprised that we're sitting here in November, and it has been the hardest year of your life. Okay, by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Matthew 12:37. See, when you say things, this not no little thing. Y'all gotta understand that now is the time where you have to speak. You have to speak in frequencies. This ain't about saying what you want to say. This is about what do you want to attract? What do you want to magnetize to you, especially if you have a platform? You need to be speaking in frequencies. You need to be speaking specifically. Okay? So, what you have to understand is that language is your legacy. Language is your legacy. Speak as if your future depends on it, because the truth of the matter is that it does, actually. Because the war is waged on words first. That's why you're able to get on TikTok and you listen to whatever people tell you on TikTok without researching it, and you take it as wealth. You take it as truth without even investigating. You've got to know. This is why men are able to get you in bed in 2.5 seconds. Outside of your desperation, it's the fact that you will fall for words and no actions. You out here telling men that your love language is words of affirmation. And then you're turning around crying about why there's no service. There's no act. There's no acts of service happening for you. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Let me see. And our language is very old. That's very similar. Our language is life, and is absolutely. Out here saying that your words of words of affirmation, so anybody could tell you anything. Let me put you on game and let you know something. Did you know? Let's have a little history lesson. Did you know how romance came into play? Do you understand that romance is capitalism? But let's sidebar. Stay here with me, okay? Romance came into play because there was a man so long ago, and you can read about this in one of Robert Greene's books. I want to say, I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of them. It's a man a very long time ago, very, very long time ago. He was, how do I want to describe this? Society would call him visually challenged. They would say that he wasn't attractive, right? They would say that he wasn't attractive at all. Hi, Lovey. And what ended up happening is that this man began to study women because he couldn't get them. He began to study women. So he studied them and studied them and studied them. And he realized what it was about women and how to actually get to women. And he knew it was the charm. And the charm could come through words. But on team, using words. Hi, Lovey. And so he began to become a wordsmith. He became a master of words. He became just like immaculate with the speech. And you know what happened? He started wooing women. He could never get women before, but he started wooing them when he had their words. Because he understood that women could be wooed with words. It's just romance. Okay? So what you have to understand is that a lot of women just fall for words and no action, when it literally tells you their faith without works is dead. Why is there belief in whatever is being said when there is no works to match that frequency? It's not making any sense. These are the things that we have to start thinking about. Language, like I said again, language is your legacy. Speak as if your future depends on it, because it does. She said, agree, turn 50 this summer, and it was the second half of my life will be fulfilling, abundance and joy. I know that's right. Period. So let's get into the second aspect of this. We talked about how the war is waged in words first. Because see, what does it even say in scripture? It says wars and rumors of wars. Words. Let me tell you something about society, the society that you live in, if you're not paying attention. Before they do anything to you, they put it in a movie. They put it in a movie and make you believe that it's fiction, that it's make-believe. The goal is to make you believe that it's false. When in reality, demonic influence has to tell you before they're about to do something to you. They have to let you know so they get your permission, your participation, or they hoping that you're not paying attention and they can slide it in there, much like how you don't read the fine print when it's time to update your phone. And they're telling you that they can use your likeness, and they telling you that they recording everything, and next thing you know, you watching a show and all your business in the show. You're like, I can relate to that, girl, because that's your story, because they've been listening to you on the phone. Okay? See, before they activate things, they have to tell you first. That's why this whole thing, like, oh, this person demon jumped on them. Baby, let me tell you something. No demon can jump on you. Ain't no way in scripture a demon jumped on nobody and there wasn't no host available. It wasn't no opening. It don't work like that. See, again, that's listening to that false traditional text. That ain't truth. This is why you have to read for yourself. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. But let's get into this next aspect of this: conscious versus subconscious, force versus influence. And I'm going to use an example with this, but let's start with the conscious mind. The conscious mind, I'm going to refer to that as like the masculine. It governs logic, order, reason, but it acquires power through force. Okay? I want you to think about the news. Okay? I want you to think about the news. I want you to think about newspapers. I want you to think about these things. I just want you to think about the news for a second. The news is something that I would call conscious mind, right? They try to force programming. They try to force fear-mongering content. They try to force certain things into your mind if you allow it in your home. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. So it's force. And of course, in your mind, if science says it or if the news says it, then it must be true. That makes sense. Okay, so let's look at that as a conscious mind. So that's one way to kind of force themselves into your space. But let's look at the subconscious. The subconscious, however, is the feminine. The subconscious governs intuition. The subconscious governs vision, emotion, but she acquires power through influence. Okay? I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. If there is a child that's jumping on the couch or jumping on the bed, and daddy comes in there and says, get your off that bed, right? The baby going to be like, ain't going to stop and get off that thing, right? Because of the forceful manner in which dad came in there and said, jumping off the bed. But when daddy leave, he jumping on that bed again. I'm talking about he having a good time. A great time. The masculine has already came in and tried to force his way in, right? So here come mama. She stands in the doorway. She sits there patiently. She folds her arms and she watches him jump. He can feel somebody looking at him, so he turns around and he sees her standing there. She don't say a word. She just look at him. He stops jumping. He immediately gets off the bed. She ain't said a word. That's influence. That's what you have within you, if you know how to use it. I'm going to give you another example of that. I just watched a video, I think it was Omar Gooding, and he was talking about his mom and how his mom used the power of words to change his life and his whole scope. He said that he was on set, and when he was on set, he was a teenager then, and it was a guy that was a grown man who was playing a teenager who was about 20-something. And his mama, who was fine, do you hear me, like drop dead, like sheesh, she told her son, Omar, yeah, that he tried to talk to me. He caught himself trying to flirt with me. And he said in his mind, as a teenager, he was like, man, that's messed up. And then the next statement that she said changed his whole mindset and shifted who he thought he was. She looked at him and said, and I almost made you beat his tail. And he was like, his chest puffed up, because he had never even thought for 1 second as a teenager that he could even possibly whoop dude for playing with his mama, until she made that statement that was so influential that it puffed him up. Another scenario that he said, They were getting ready to go outside. It was real dark. She was like, come walk me to the car. And he was like, it's scary out there. She said, but I got you. And he was like, yeah, you're right. You got me. The power of influence. Women have the power of influence by activating senses without saying a word. Women have the power of influence with their words. Women have started wars. Women have stopped wars. You understand? You have got to understand the power of your language. You can build or you can destroy. This is why it talks about it so much. So I want you to ask yourself, with understanding that the conscious mind operates more like a masculine element, and the subconscious mind acts more like a feminine aspect, and it is the subconscious mind that influences the conscious mind. Ask yourself, what has been influencing your inner woman? What has been influencing your subconscious mind? Some of you still hear the voice of your parents, which is why no matter what you do, you still don't feel good enough. Some of you still hear the voices of old lovers and different things like that. You hear their voices louder than you hear the voice of the one who created you, and you swear you love God. You swear you love God. But how is it that your mama voice is louder than the Most High's? How is it that your man voice is louder than the Most High? How is it that your friend's voice is louder than the Most High? It makes no sense. The only way for you to be able to do that is to put them in a place on a pedestal that really they don't belong. Because how is their voice that influential over your life that it shifts your mood? It shifts the way you make decisions. It shifts your reality because you have made them your God. The boundaries you can't have with your mother. Who told you that you couldn't have boundaries with your mother when boundaries are very well listed in Scripture? Why is it that though you understand honor your father and your mother, you don't understand parents don't provoke your children? Why don't you understand those aspects? Who has been influencing your subconscious mind, your inner woman? And guess what? Hi, Lovey. Women are very easily influenced. Let's get into it. That's why it's the subconscious. Women are easily influenced. That's why women are the number one consumers when it comes down to capitalism. We always buying something because all we got to do is play on with your emotions. You know how they sell you that vacation back to back is because they selling you relaxation on a beach. They selling you that. They selling you that with a beach. They selling you that with a lady out there with a book and a hat on a thing. They're selling that to you with her sitting by the water. They're selling a feeling. They're appealing to your emotions. If you ever want to win and get a woman money, see, this is how men get you. You understand? The exact same way. If you ever want to get a woman to spend her money, all you got to do is sell to her emotions. And I'm trying to tell you something with that, and I hope you caught that. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. I hope you caught what I said. That's why y'all be out here giving men money and they be giving it to other women. Real crazy work. You understand? Because you letting them sell you a dream. They're not lying to you. Because nobody can play you without your permission, your participation, or the fact that you simply are not paying attention. And if you ain't Mr. Love, we still here. If you ain't reprogrammed your mind, you are easily influenced. I don't care what you say. You better find you somebody to play with. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. You better find you somebody to play with. If you are not the influence in your own life, if you are not operating from the God influence in your life that talks about that in Genesis, if you ain't moving from that, you are easily influenced. Men can pimp you, society pimping you, your mama pimping you, your kids pimping you, your friends pimping you. All because you won't prioritize yourself. And you're hoping that somebody's going to shift and give you something different if you just continue to pour into them. Ma'am, please. Again, who is influencing your inner woman, your subconscious mind? Your subconscious, your feminine core is wired. It's being wired, not by your desires, but by the words that you've tolerated. Why are you still holding on to the fact that from the 3rd grade somebody called you stupid? Do you understand that you have been under a spell since you were in the 3rd grade because you still believe that you're stupid? You took those words as true. See, this is why you have to have a process. When something is said to you, you should have a process to decide if this is truth or a lie. That's what I teach my clients. You should be, see, when you know truth, you got something to compare it to. The reason why you think you ugly is because you have not trained yourself on the fact that you're beautiful according to scripture. It literally tells you you're beautifully and wonderfully made, but you let this man tell you ugly, and now you want to drink yourself into oblivion. Girl, please. Don't piss me off. Be for real. And then you want to talk about how good God is and God this and God that. Girl, you don't even know you're beautiful. You let a creation speak on you. You let a creation tell you about your value. You let something or someone that didn't create you, and your mama didn't create you, baby. You was formed in your mama's womb, FYI. Okay? You were created, and your innermost is known by the Most High and yourself. Or you should know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, you ain't taking care of yourself. And let me tell you, for those of you who are doing all the fake self-care that's not working, the reason why self-care is not working for you is because you are missing 2 steps. 3 steps actually, before you get to self-care. See, a lot of you just jumping into there. Let me go get my nails done. Let me go on vacation. Let me go do this. Let me go do whatever. That is not the way this works, beloved. In order to practice proper self-care, one must be self-aware, number 1. You must be aware of what you actually need, which means that you would have to be attentive and you would have to be up to date with your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health and financial health and social health. If you're not up to date on those things, again, I say your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, your financial health, and your social health, if you are not up to date and understanding and awareness of these things, what care are you actually going to be able to give yourself? Stop playing with me. So you need self-awareness, number 1. Number 2, once you have the self-awareness, the thing that you're also lacking is self-compassion. The way y'all will forgive men that will slap you in the face every single time, but you still praying the same prayer of forgiveness to the one that created you. When I promise you, when you prayed about it the first time, crying and was thrown in the sea of forgetfulness, you still holding on to that guilt and you still crying about it, but you out here forgiving men for mistreat. What are we doing? Are we okay? We're not okay. You need to have that same type of compassion you have for that man for yourself. Because I'm trying to get some understanding. You got compassion for everybody but yourself, and you're the one who needs it the most. Hello? You're the one who needs it the most. So your lack of self-awareness is why you can't practice efficient self-care. The fact that you lack compassion for yourself is the reason why you can't practice effective self-care. And the reason why this experience of self-care can't provide ease to you is because you lack self-acceptance. Why won't you accept who you are instead of pretending to be something or somebody else? Anything you attract under false pretenses, according to Proverbs, basically states that you're not going to be able to keep that or sustain it. I told you at the start of this video, I'm a human system strategist. The human species that I focus on is the female species. Okay? Successful women come to me to help them create those internal systems so that they can amplify and sustain their external success. External success for them could be marriage. Want to know how they can sustain in a marriage? They come to me to get those internal systems so they don't burn out as a mom and wife. If success looks like for them their 6-figure business, they come to me to help them build the internal infrastructure so that they can sustain running a 6-figure business. Okay? If you don't have internal systems, if you don't have frameworks, and you don't have things in place for when situations happen, that ultimately gonna happen, this is why you get crushed by life. Let me tell y'all something, and this gonna hurt. And I say this as a person who lost her dad in August. Why are y'all not prepared for death? Why don't you understand that people are gonna die? Why is it that you allow yourself to be in a space to where you get locked in a moment of somebody dying and you never can come back up from that. The reason why you are not okay with that as a woman is because you have not even recognized that you go through a process of rebirth and death every month. That's how I know you ain't syncing with your cycle. That's how I know you can't look at the moon and know when you finna come on. You got to put it in the app. And they taking your information from the apps and gonna use that against you. Y'all not thinking. Everything around you, you are connected to. You are surrounded by wonders of the Most High. You are a walking wonder of the Most High. And you don't even honor yourself by even becoming into awareness of yourself, having compassion for yourself, radically accepting yourself. And when I say radically accept, don't come over here trying to play with me like you want to play up your light side. Let me tell you something. We all got light and dark feminine. And if you want to know more about the light and dark feminine, the light feminine, go over there and subscribe to my Substack. If you're really about that life and you really want to know, you're going to become a paid member. But if not, become a free member. Still get that goodness, okay? Go to the red knowledge tree for the light feminine. Go to the black sanctum for the dark feminine. Stop acting like playing up your light is not making us believe that you are this perfect or good person. We see you. We see you as a person who does not take ownership over their self. And guess what? There is freedom in ownership. And ownership is taking responsibility for what you allowed yourself to be in when you didn't know your value. The way you let that man dog you out, accept that. Pay attention to how you let it happen. Pay attention to what you gave permission to. Pay attention to what you participated in. Keep it real with yourself. Hey, best girl. Pay attention to that. Because you're not paying attention to that. That's why you consistently keep getting played. That's why you keep attracting narcissistic people into your life. You have to understand that there's a connection. If you keep attracting narcissistic people in your life, you have to look in the mirror. That's hard to hear, but it's the truth. Because I'm going to tell you something that nobody probably has ever told you, and I've said it before. If you constantly attract narcissistic people or men into your space all the time, that's because you guys sit on the same frequency. If that is who always seems to be your boyfriend, your experience, your friends, and all of you find out they're not, you have to look in the mirror. A narcissist and yourself are sitting on the same frequency. And what I mean by that is, and this is why I say, again, you have to recalibrate your language. You have to recalibrate your text. Because how you move from that is going to be law. And that's going to be what's attracting into your space and magnetizing into your space. So the commonality between you and a narcissist is that you both are trying to outsource power, but you're trying to outsource two different types of power. Most women who fall victim to a narcissist and they are stuck with that narcissist for a while is a woman who is trying to outsource love. She normally loves the narcissist more than she loves herself. And she tries to show examples of this by doing every single thing that the narcissist wants them to do, even though it continues to show that it's not good enough. It's not working, but they continue to exhaust themselves because they're just hoping that this person is going to show them the love and give them the love that they are craving because they've outsourced themselves in order to get that power from them. When in reality, love is a power source that you only have to plug yourself into. And when you plug yourself into it, according to the law of radiation, you're going to radiate out, and love is going to be reflected back to you through your friendships, through your relationships, and all these things. But most importantly, it's going to happen because of your decisions, because you're going to protect yourself. Why? Because you're walking love. And when you are a walking love letter like that, you understand that not everybody has the privilege to be able to read this love letter. Okay? So this is the thing that we really need to understand and we need to grasp. You need to understand that a narcissist is outsourcing power because it believes that it is powerless. And the reason why it's demonic is because it needs a host. Okay? It needs a host. And so when it's decided that you're going to be its host of power, that makes it feel powerful. And how does a narcissist feel power? Like, why does it feel power from breaking you down? I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not listening, okay, I'm about to put you on game and you need to pay attention to me. If I tell you this and you do what you want to do after that, I don't care. Because it's your life, I swear. This is what you have to understand when it comes down to a narcissist and how they are dealing with you and how they become powerful. You make them powerful. You know why? Because you feed their ego. You alter your personality. Don't screen record, baby, because what it's going to do is slow it down. So don't screen record. I promise it's going to be on YouTube. Don't trip. What they're going to do specifically is, as you're feeding their ego, they're going to grow. See, this is what happens when women try to decide, I can just help this man. I can just build him. He just needs this. He just needs that. So let me tell you how the masculine thinks, because a lot of women don't understand how the masculine thinks. They think the masculine should operate like the feminine. This is why you should understand the science of yourself, which is one of 3 major keys that I say that if you want to thrive as a woman. Number 2, understand the science of yourself so that you can understand the science of everything else around you, including the masculine. When you are doing things for a man, you know what he's saying? He's not saying, she's so wonderful. She does this for me. She's so great. She does this for me. You know what he says? I'm so fly that she be doing this for me. Man, I'm so cold with it that she be doing this to me. And if I'm that cold with it and she doing this for me, then I wonder what I can get the next time, and what else I can get done for me by somebody else. So every altar of your core that you make, every sacrifice that you make of yourself by pouring into this individual, all of your energy transference going into the betterment of this individual. The reason why they leave you is because you have nothing left to give. This is how women end up in the scenarios where they're saying, oh, he drained the life out of me. Ma'am, you gave him the straw. You gave him the straw. Because we don't leave when we're supposed to leave. See, one thing about it, I was having a conversation with my cousin yesterday, and she was like, one thing I love about you, you don't play, you will leave because you know your value, and I will. I'm leaving the first time. I'm leaving at the first sign of disrespect, baby. I'm out of there. And I mean I'm out of there. And when I say I'm out of there, I don't do this, oh, you can try to give me back and try to play this game and give me that. I don't want you. I make it real clear I don't want you. And as warm as I am, baby, that warmth, that polarity, I live in duality. You understand? Thank you, my love, for these gifts. I live in understanding the laws, the spiritual laws. So I live in polarity. That warm can come real cold. Never to y'all, that's my best friend right there that said never to return again. She'll tell y'all, I will leave them. And I do leave. Baby, when I tell you, at the sign of disrespect, and ain't no talking to me about it, because the disrespect was your closure. That was your closure. I don't need closure. My feelings are hurt. No, I don't miss you. I don't miss nobody who betrayed me. And this is why, again, when people mistreat you and there is not a cost, whether it's a cost of losing access to you, a money cost that's heavy that hits the pocket to where they be like, Lord, I don't ever want to do that again. If it ain't nothing that really, really hits, you are training that person, you are influencing that person subconsciously to do it again. And when they do it again, they're going to do it up because they don't have a memory of a consequence for doing you wrong. And I'm not talking about you actually going and do something crazy, sleeping with their homeboy, doing that. No. Cut their oxygen off, baby. We are in the age of air. Cut their air off, sweetheart. And when I say cut their air off, you cut the air off by stop talking. What we talking for? What are we saying anything for? There's nothing to discuss. Cut the air off. Let them sit in the heat. Let them sit in the heat. They didn't appreciate sitting in air conditioning when it was flowing and it felt great and it was soothing. They wouldn't appreciate it. Cut it off. Women have got to understand their value, because whether you realize it or not, you are influencing the way people treat you by the way you treat yourself. She said, and I'm sure you sleep well and I haven't. Okay, getting all my sleep. Do you hear me? One thing about me, I ain't never losing no money behind a man. I ain't never losing no sleep behind a man. And I ain't never losing no appetite behind one. Baby, I'm going to eat, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to make money. She going to always do that. I'm going to make some more money because you done piss me off. Because when I get mad, I really get in my bag. Okay? So I'm sleeping excellent. because I understand the value that I have. And sweetheart, there's never a wall for me. A woman like me, and see, this is what you should know about yourself. A woman like me, baby, I can live in Thailand. Is going to be a man over there for me. I can live in the States. I can go to Italy. I can go to the places they say, oh, they don't even, it's going to always be somebody. Do you hear me? You better recognize the power you have, baby. I can activate senses before I even speak. I know what to do. Do you know what to do? I can live anywhere and anytime and make it happen. Okay? So again, let's go back to this. Your subconscious, your feminine core is being wired. Okay? If you are listening to society, if you're listening to other people's program, if you don't, it's being wired not by your desires, but by the words you've been tolerating, what you believe that other people are telling you. People telling you ugly, people telling you ain't no money, people telling you you better not fly. I ain't even finna get into that. Do a thorough investigation of what is going on around you, is what I would tell you. And a lot of it is not true. A lot of you been saying things like you want freedom, you want this, you want that, but you're writing survival in your systems. You understand? When it tells you in scripture to guard your heart above everything else because from it flows life, it's letting you know, change your words, rewire your womb. Creation starts in the womb. And see, I talk about the connection between the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the ovaries, where you can use that energy to create. Okay? I talked a little bit about this in my ovulation TikTok video and my ovulation letter on Substack. Y'all are using ovulation to chase pipe when you can be getting paid, and that's crazy to me. If your intention during ovulation is not to have a baby, you shouldn't be out here trying to chase pipe. The reason why, and I'm going to tell y'all something. The reason why a lot of women love the idea of self-mastery, but they don't really want to step into the fullness of mastering themselves is because you're scared you're not going to have a man. And then you're trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do with my urges? Women who master themselves learn how to turn wanting connection in that moment that's not really going to help them into cash flow. See, the more you actually start mastering yourself, the less attractive most men become to you. And you realize that there is only a certain type of man that you're going to deal with. And it's always going to be beneficial to you because you are literally walking value, and he sees that from the jump. But see, when you don't know yourself, you can't exude that type of energy, and you can't exude that type of energy without self-care. And what I just tell y'all, the missing steps about self-care is y'all ain't self-aware, you lack self-compassion, you lack radical self-acceptance, and therefore you can't care for yourself, but you expect that man to. Let me move on. Change your words, rewire your womb. So let's get into language calibration in real time, because I need you to grasp what I'm saying. When I'm saying language calibration, I'm saying elevating your language, because again, it says there's power of life and death in the tongue. A lot of y'all are taking your own lives. Let's talk about it. With the words that you speak and the things that you write. Think about this. I'm going to use some old language. Oh, I need discipline. No, baby, you need divine order. You need divine order. Because if you have divine order, you're going to be disciplined. You're going to be bold with your discipline. You understand? Because it's going to excite you to get these things done. All right? Because it's in divine order. And there's always time to do what it is you're supposed to do. The reason why you run out of time is because you are doing things that are truly not priority. That's why you're burnt out. That's why you're tired. Oh, I'm just so tired. I'm just so exhausted. No, baby, your priorities are not in order, because you always got time for what you're supposed to do. Better go read Ecclesiastes 3. There's always time. With your time, there's always time. It's about what you do with your time, your 1,440 minutes that you get every single day. Oh, I can't work out for 1 hour, baby. That's 4% of the day. You ain't got 4% for you, but you want 100% from that man in a relationship. Girl, don't piss me off. Next one, I need to hustle. That's the old language. You don't need to hustle, baby. You need rhythm. You need rhythm. Okay? I just want to release this pain. Actually, you will, what you say is, I will rewire this pain into wisdom or forward progression, or to put me in a position to get me paid. Release this pain, ma'am. Transmute that pain. See, when painful things happen in my life, I transmute that into forward progression. Okay? I transmute that energy into forward progression because energy that's sitting there is potential energy. And what do we say about potentials, ladies? What do we say about potential when it comes down to me? Oh no, they don't have potential. Duh. If you let that pain sit there, that's potential energy that could turn into kinetic energy if you would just make the right move. I'm a Coop, hold on one second. I'm gonna give you I'm actually gonna talk about what's gonna help you with that. The biggest part of that is reprogramming your mind. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. So instead of saying I just want to release the pain, change that to I will rewire this pain into wisdom, into forward progression, into progress, into paper, whichever you choose. But that's going to be your reality. But saying I just want to release this pain is going to have you sitting there in that same pain. The next one, I'm for business owners, I'm grinding so I can scale. Absolutely not. What do you mean? What needs to be said, or the new calibration needs to be, I'm compounding with rest, multiplying with regulation. Okay. I am compounding with rest and multiplying with regulation. This means that I'm getting the rest that I need to get, and I'm making sure that I'm regulated, so I'm making decisions from a regulated state. Okay? Saying the old language is why your life isn't changing. Your life isn't changing because the language you are using still serves the old identity. And this happens a lot with a lot of women who come into making a lot of money and become very successful. They still, they still trying to find connections with the old. Like, that language is not working for you anymore. It still serves the old identity. And like I've talked about before, there are 3 identity shifts that have to take place if you want to make your first, thank you, my love, for these gifts. If you want to make your first $100,000, go from $100,000 to $500,000 and going from $500,000 to $1 million. I have a client that's almost at $1 million, and I'm telling you, there had to be 3 to 4 identity shifts that happen in that space. 0 to 10,000, inner child work and mindset right there. Okay? Because 10,000 mindset. You need to work on your mindset around people paying you that. That's what happens most people's first 10,000. From 10,000 to 100,000, that's inner child work. That's inner child work and some other things. 100,000 to 500,000, that's an identity shift. That's mirror work. So you're doing shadow work when you're operating from 10,000 to 100,000. You're going from 100,000 to 5, identity shift. Nervous system work, going from 500,000 to $1 million, identity shift, and most definitely mirror work. Now you got to look at the reflections around you, because at every new level, you need to be assessing the people around you. Okay? Please explain how evil is so wealthy, because they use spiritual law, but they use it in a dark way. That's really that's the best way for me to be able to explain it. They understand spiritual law, and they understand high level sorcery, and they use it against the 99%. That's how. This is why I always say it's really important for you, number one, to understand spiritual law. Because if you understand spiritual law, then you can create your own reality. Okay? You can create your own reality. They understand spiritual law. They understand whatever a man sows, ye shall reap. They understand these things. They just use these things in a way to oppress. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that too. So, again, every time you use words of bondage or words out of bondage, you reinforce the walls of your own prison. Okay? When you think about something as simple as the verse in Joel, I think it's like chapter 3:10, it's like, let the weak say I'm strong. And you've seen, like, I forgot his name, Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he talked about how he shifted and rewired a lot of different things mentally to support him in healing his body. Belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. And if you don't believe me, like I always say, think about that pregnancy scare you had. You thought you was pregnant for real, huh? Till the test said negative. Till the doctor said negative. But you was throwing up. You could smell the ocean. You could smell this. You could smell that. You was sleepy. You was this. Why did that happen? Because your brain believed that you were pregnant. You tricked your brain into believing that you were pregnant. And you were saying, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Because why? The brain does not understand if you're playing or joking. So the brain activates, oh, okay, what are the pregnancy symptoms based on what we know? Okay, it's throwing up. Yeah, I remember she shot that in a documentary years ago. Let's pull that up. Boom. You got to understand how this works. It's very important to also grasp, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. What you think about yourself is your reality. Your perception influences your perspective of self, which creates your patterns with self, which creates your relationship with self. And your relationship with self sets the tone that you, with any other relationship that you have with anyone else or anything else. Your relationship with yourself impacts your relationship with meals, men, and money, and everything else in between or outside of that. Because those three things are heavily, heavily, heavily connected. The thing that you have to grasp and that you have to understand with this is that your tongue is a tool of technology, okay? Calibrate it. This is why it tells you to bridle the tongue. This is why it tells you all these things about the tongue. It's not a joke. It's not a game. Now let's get into a little bit of the aspect of, because I talked about this a little bit before, but I'm going to give you a little bit more information about the fallen angel who actually taught words and writing. If you are just now joining, everything that I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. The scripture that I like to read, I actually have it on the table today. Hold on, just click over, please. Okay. So, the one that I like to read is the Ethiopian scripture. This is what I like to read. And if you go into the book of Enoch, I want to say it is, hold on, hold on. I want to say it's 96 or 69. Hold on. Yep. I can't remember if it's 96 or 69. But anywho, no, because I want to find it, because I don't want to tell y'all wrong. If I don't find it, I'm going to put it in, what am I doing? I'm going to put it in my YouTube video, so you'll be able to go look it up for yourself. Okay? So anywho, in the book of Enoch specifically, well, let me preface this. Everybody's familiar with the flood. Nobody really talks about, okay, so what happened? Like, why? Yeah, we knew the world was so crazy and Noah went through the flood or whatever, and nobody believed him when he was building this big thing. And FYI, the reason why Noah was able to build the thing is because he had knowledge. He had secret knowledge. He had knowledge from an angel that gave him the measurements, much like, you know how they built that stuff over there in the pyramids and everything? Sacred knowledge, okay? Occult knowledge that heavenly knowledge is the best way that I can describe it. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. So in the book of Enoch, it reveals that the angel, and I don't want to say his name wrong, so I'm going to spell it for you if you want to go look it up for yourself. Okay? The angel's name starts with a P, then there's an E, then there's an N, then there N is a Nancy, and then there's an E again, and then there's an M, and then there's a U, and then there's an E. Okay? Penemue is the fallen angel's name who taught mankind how to read and write. To read and write was a gift. So let me put y'all on camera. I just want y'all to connect the dots real quick. You notice with slavery, what is the thing that they did not want our ancestors to be able to do? What would they be quick to unalive them for? Somebody put in the comments for me. What is the thing that they were so stuck on that they don't need to, that we didn't, our ancestors and that we didn't need to learn how to do? Why do you think for 1 second that they would want us to not know how to read and write? Why do you think for 1 second that they would want us to not know how to read and how to write? Because they knew, okay, that to read and write was really a spiritual gift. But hold tight, let me put you on game. Okay? So this angel taught mankind how to read and write, but the divine gift was corrupted. Wicked rulers began to weaponize writing and reading, but they weaponized writing by casting curses, enforcing contracts, enslaving nations through ink and intention. Why is that important? Because it tells you in scripture in Habakkuk 2:2, if you write it down, that write it down and make it plain. Write the vision down and make it plain. Why do you need to write the vision down and make it plain? Because without a vision, the people will perish. So they used writing to enslave people to maintain order so the vision that they had wouldn't perish. But let's go back to that again. Wicked rulers begin weaponizing writing. They did this through casting curses, okay, enforcing contracts, enslaving nations through ink and intention. Still doing the same thing to this day. Now, we're about to get ready to go into 2026, and it's happening even more. AI is scripting your thoughts. You want to use AI to make it easier or to make it easier on you. You want to use AI, to finish your sentence. You want to use AI to ask, AI is scripting your thoughts. Your feed is a programmed predictive spell. How do they know you like that? How do they know that you like their dress? How did they know that you were about to go shopping and all those things? How did they know? It's a predictive spell based on what they've picked up. So they've turned around, not only recorded you, figured out what it is that you enjoy, put something in writing in an advertisement to influence your subconscious mind, because advertisements are influential, right? So they basically set up your feed to be a program spell. Let you tell it, right? You want to work out. You want to do this, you want to do that. Now TikTok is showing you all the workout equipment that you can do from home. It's showing you every single thing that you can do. Every time you turn around, you can buy this for your home gym. Okay? Pay attention. Said, I see the trick. Oh yeah, it's high level sorcery. It's high level sorcery. I like AI, but I will not let it think for me, as you shouldn't. As you shouldn't, honey. Okay? So again, this is happening going into 2026. It's happening now. AI is scripting your thoughts. Your feed is a program spell, and your language is being hijacked. The more you use AI and the more you doom scroll, the more your brain rots. Science is speaking about these things now already. The more your brain rots, the more you struggle to pay attention, to focus. Focus is a skill set. They know this. Focus is a skill set. It's such a skill set. It's the reason why you still know your ABCs, because your parents made you or your school made you focus on it, and to the point to where it was a song. They put it in a song. You know why they put the ABCs in a song? Do you know why our ancestors sing songs? Because music is a medium. It penetrates to the soul. It penetrates to the depths of your mind. And the language of the subconscious is repetition. This is why if you continue to sing this song, it never leaves you. Me and my brother had went home for our dad's funeral, and we rode past our elementary school. I'm 41, okay? I ain't been in elementary school clearly in a long time. Me and my brother were riding past the school, and we both bust out singing the elementary school song. We start singing it to each other. I'm talking about real hype, right? And me and my brother are 6.5 years apart. So I was at the school when he wasn't there. And then he came after me, and that's when he, went up and did all that. And we just started singing the song. I'm talking about we in the car just going to town. Why? Because we had to sing that song every single day that we went to Boudreaux. Because it's elementary school we went to in New Orleans, right? Much like if you grew up as a millennial, you grew up saying the pledge. Can I tell y'all something that I think is really interesting that those of us who grew up in the era of saying the pledge didn't realize? How is it that they trained us on a song telling us that we weren't living in a democracy, telling us that we were living in a republic, but we still let them trick us into believing that we live in a democracy? What does the pledge say again? I pledge and to the republic for which it stands. How do we let them trick us when we've always known the truth? Again, demonic influence and demonic counterparts. Do you understand? They have to tell you, demonic influence, they have to tell you what they're doing. They have to tell you what they're doing. We literally sitting here saying this every day. I ain't gonna get into that. I was about to say something else. I'll tell you to research that more. That's what I will say. They're gonna ban me if I say what I want to say. But and also let me know how you feel like that is working out. What has been the true evidence of that if we are in said democracy? But y'all can do what y'all want, baby. Y'all can do what y'all want. Okay? What I will say is, like they say in Isaiah 5:20, woe to those who call evil good and who call good evil. I understand. And I understand why you would have that perception in that space. So yeah. All I gotta say is so many spoke last night. Babe, we need to have a conversation about that. Cause yeah, we'd have to talk off this. Let me say that. We'd have to talk off this. But let me finish this, okay? The tongue is a fire, okay? It is a world of iniquity if you're not careful. And the things that you have to understand is that the things that were once written on scrolls are now embedded in scripts. Hey, Lovey, they're on your phone, they're on your timeline, and they're in your subconscious. They're in your subconscious. And these are the things that you have to pay attention to. Absolutely. You better know. Said it's a system. It's all a system, and it does not care about us. We need to care about ourselves, which brings me right back to what it says in scripture. You are to love your neighbor as you love yourself, meaning that you are to be the first example of love. And by that, you are caring for yourself. You are focused on yourself. You are prioritizing self. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, because if you don't do these things, you can't take care of anyone else. You can't do anything for anyone else. You can't. It's not possible. So these are the things that we have to pay attention to that are extremely important. Make sure, okay, whether it was taught. Yeah. And it was taught. This is why our community has been always gotten this far. And the thing about it is, now, I can't say that. I can't say that, but I'm with you. I can't say that because they're going to ban me. Right, you can because you in the comments, but I can't say that. For those who are on YouTube, I hate that you're not able to see what is being said, because that's it. That's the one right there. That's the one. But let me say this. Reclaim the written word, the truth of it, okay? Rewrite the rhythm of your reality, because you can. 2026 is not only the 250th year of this nation, but it's also going to be a year of surveillance, and it's also a year of soul submission. Be very careful what you submit to. If your internal frequency isn't recalibrated right now, your nervous system won't survive what's coming. I'm gonna say that again. Let me get this, because they kind of blocking some words. If your internal frequency, okay, isn't recalibrated, right now. And if you're not working on it, okay, your nervous system is not going to survive what's coming because it's not over. I told y'all it's a deadline. It's a deadline. And things have to be done by this deadline. And if you think you're preparing by working harder, but you're still programmed to panic, you just going to keep repeating the emotional habits that were embedded by trauma, and you're going to label them as normal. And society is going to label them as, oh, it's just common. How you can get ahead of this, how you can support yourself, how you can shift frequencies, really, is for you to reprogram your mind. That's going to be extremely vital and extremely important. You need frequency formatting, and it's just the truth. And because of this, and because of the conversations that I've been having, and because of the women have been coming to me, I brought something back that I wasn't going to bring back, but I brought back, and it's with a twist, I brought back how to reprogram your mind. Okay? And let's talk about what's in how to reprogram your mind. I'm literally giving you the keys on how to rewire your patterns using neuroscience. I'm going to show you where it's at in scripture. And I'm going to use neuroscience to show you how to be able to do it. And if you can, and this is for women who've taken how to reprogram your mind. These are my clients who have made 10x their businesses. These are my clients who have really rewired themselves to be able to be in relationships that actually support them. These are my clients who have done their work to rewire themselves to even get their health together. As y'all know, I used to be 100 pounds heavier. I used to be stressed out because I was working 9 to 5. I used to be in a space where I attracted people in my space who were more so of the users because I was just a good girl and I was raised with all this programming, be good and da-da-da-da, right? And me being able to rewire my mind supported me in becoming a multi-six-figure business owner, creating from the ground up without having to hustle. Coming from having a business, working a full-time job, and having working at Mac at the time, I couldn't keep no money when I had those three things going on. But when I reprogrammed my mind and got focused and stopped having my energy scattered, I was able to really see real results in my life. A lot of times, clients, and I'll say this, not just clients, but women who are in business, a lot of times they tend to struggle to consistently get money coming in, or they may be stuck at an income level, and that's normally because their energy is scattered. Exactly. I was just going there. Their energy is scattered. If you're doing 50 million things, of course your money is going to be scattered because your energy is everywhere. If you sell taxes, do hair, do this and do that, of course your energy is going to be scattered. You need to be in position doing what you are aligned to do, nothing more, nothing less. Because if you are doing what is in alignment for you, what's on assignment for you, you always got time to get it done, and it was not going to exhaust you to get it done. That does not have to be your reality. Okay? Now, the Reprogram Your Mind class, you can get it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay, is $197. But here's the bonus, because I'm bringing it back. So it's two things. If you have purchased already, because some people have purchased it from a couple of years ago because it still hits. It was a part of a bundle where that product made me like $25,000 quickly because that Reprogram Your Mind is life-changing. As a bonus, if you've purchased Reprogram Your Mind before in the past, then you get access to the bonus. That's what you'll be paying for. And if you're buying it for the first time, you'll get this class and you'll get the bonus that we're having. So the bonus that is, girl, the honk is crazy. I don't know what they're doing. But what you're going to get is another class that I'm going to be hosting. And that class is going to be on the 19th. It's going to be a bonus. So that's going to be like a free class. It's only free to the women who get or have the Reprogram Your Mind class. So if you get it, you get the class that also comes with it called Words Become Flesh. Okay? And Words Become Flesh is a class that lets you know what you write, you welcome. A lot of you are journaling yourself into continuous survival patterns. When it tells you to write the vision down and make it plain, I really think you need to understand what that really means. It's the same as this one. I think you really need to grasp the understanding of what that means. So words become flesh. What you write, you welcome. I'm talking about the invisible contracts that are hiding in your journals, in your content, in your captions, and in your casual conversations and confessions. Okay? What we're going to cover in that bonus class is this. You're going to understand, number one, writing as agreement. How writing is a spiritual act of consent, even when it's unconscious. Okay? You're going to understand the difference between writing for awareness and writing for agreement. Okay, this is going to make you look at everything different. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all going to have to learn how to read the fine print because these people keep playing with you because you don't read. You're going to have to read. Why do you think they created all this stuff with STEM and then took creative arts and language arts and all these things out of the school? Because they want your kids not to be able to read. Do you understand? Okay, so let's get back to it. You're also going to learn, and this is only one section, writing as an agreement. You're also going to learn what it means to document your dysfunction and unknowingly make it law. Some of you are documenting your dysfunction and unknowingly making it law of your life. That's why you keep repeating it. It tells you to write the vision down. You're also going to learn scriptures that prove words are not just reflections, they are contracts. The second thing I'm going to cover in that class, that's going to be a bonus, is the journal trap. How venting, scripting, shadow work can bind you to past identities if not recalibrated. You're also going to learn why women who process through writing often get stuck in emotional repetition loops. You're going to also learn the hidden trauma loop, okay, language you keep scripting and how it rewrites your nervous system. All right? Every time you wrote, I don't feel safe, your body kept believing that you were in danger. Something as small as that. Okay? When they say your words are weighty, it's not a joke. Third thing that you're going to learn in that class, spiritual codes, scriptural codes, social scripts, and the truth about sorcery, how society gets over on you in that space. The original origins of writing, I'm going to go deeper into talking about that specific angel in writing, okay, and how that power has been distorted. I'm also going to talk about the connection between linguistic sorcery, legal systems, and digital surveillance. See, I'm going to give y'all the real deal. I'm also going to talk about why captions, content, and casual compliments online are spells that you cast in public, whether you realize it or not. I'm going to talk about how AI and predictive text are retraining your language and your life. See, I'm going to give it to you. And then I'm also going to tell you and teach you about how to rewrite, to rewire, how to use language calibration to reprogram your subconscious mind and spiritual authority. I'm going to give you daily script flips, what to say instead of when you write or text or journal. Okay. I'm going to give you some things that's going to show you how to rescind these written contracts that you may have written, okay, for yourself. All right. And then I'm also going to show you how to begin writing from your consecrated future, not your chaotic past. Okay. So what you're going to walk away with, a language audit map. All right. A framework for consecrated content creation. You're going to figure out a process and have a framework for rescinding past written agreements that you put over yourself. Okay. So this is what you're going to get in this space and the things that you are going to learn. So if you get how to reprogram your mind today, which if you purchase it now, you'll end up getting it later on today. You'll get an email so you can log in and get access to it. But if you purchase how to reprogram your mind, or if you already have how to reprogram your mind and you email me, I can check and see if you have it. Then all you have to do is purchase and you will get access to this new one, Words Become Flesh, the invisible contracts. Okay. So with that being said, that's basically kind of all I have. Click the link in the bio to get access to it where it says how to reprogram your mind. Click that. You can get a Klarna Firm Afterpay. You can get it straight out. But with that, you get those 2 courses that come with that, okay? And that second course is going to be a live one because I'm not having any more master classes for the rest of the year. That's the last class that I'm having. Well, the last master class I had was last time, but this is the last bonus, like anything type of class that I'm having in that space. And it's going to be really, really important before you go into 2026. You got to do something about your words, okay? Because your words, what you write, and your womb, those things are connected to your wealth. And I think it's time that women started paying attention to that. Stop taking it for granted because it's not a joke and it's not a game. What questions do you guys have for me? Drop your questions in the comments if you have any. If not, I'm going to get off here. So drop your comments for me on questions. No. The class is how to reprogram your mind. It's in the bio. It's when you click the link in my bio, it should be the first thing that comes up. You're gonna click it. You're gonna get a Stripe link. The Stripe link is gonna take you to where you pay. It's $197. You're gonna get an email in about an hour. Okay, that is going to give you the class and then give you the information on the next class. All right. I think it's necessary to journal. I just think you have to be cautious with your words. And that's what you're going to learn in this class. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. But like I always say too, go look these things up for yourself. You don't got to believe me. I gave you the little angel name to go look up. I showed you the scripture I'll be reading. I've given you some aspects of the science. It's your responsibility to figure out what you want to do for yourself. And I've given you the process or giving you access to how you can put these things into place. This is not the time to play. And I'm going to be very clear, like women have got on my lives and they've been able to manifest great things. They've been able to do all of these things. But being in community with me, being in class with me is where you get the real stuff. And let me say this too. I'm only offering this today and tomorrow. I'm only offering this today and tomorrow. So after tomorrow, if you haven't gotten it, you're not going to be able to be there. And when this comes back out, I guarantee you the price point is not going to be $197 for sure. Okay. So if you are interested and this resonated with you, and not even interested, but if you know you need to do some recalibration and rewiring and reprogramming of your mind, then definitely get the class because it's going to support you. But if you want to keep going around being controlled by your thoughts, always overthinking, overanalyzing, always a victim in your space, then hey, if that works for you, I ain't got no problem. But if you want to come out of that, you've done all this work on yourself, you gotten the education, you've done this, you've done that, but your mind still wanders, your mind still takes over, this is going to support you in that. Okay? But right now I'm being mindful of my words and what I write because I believe what you're saying. Oh, I appreciate that. All praises to the Most High. But yeah, y'all can go look for yourself. Go look in scripture. Go look around. Go look at laws. People have taken the power of writing and words and use it against you. Why won't you take those same things and elevate yourself? Put yourself in a better position. It's important. Okay? All right, y'all, I'm going to get off here. I don't have any questions. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing Wisdom Wednesday. This is going up on YouTube. Click the link in the bio to get access to my Substacks or any other courses or anything that I have that's available. Read for yourself and see what works for you. Okay? And we're going to go from there. Thank you so much, love you. I hope that y'all have a great day as well. And peace, y'all.